Welcome to Community News Media. My name is Lori Nussbaum, and we are here with another episode of Pickleball, the fastest growing sport in the nation. And today I am so honored to have my guests as Karyn Cunningham, Mayor of Village of Palmetto Bay.
Thank you.
And Lily Azel, always a pleasure, who is the inspiration behind all of our pickleball here in South Florida and the ambassador of pickleball for Miami-Dade.
Thank you.
So before we get started, because I know we have a lot to talk about,
Absolutely.
I want to just show a little clip from the meeting that we had, the council meeting at Palmetto Bay. So Alex, can you play that?
The other thing that kind of struck me when I was listening was the amount of travel. Many people,
Not really sure.
Obviously, we have some in Coral Reef, which I know are not premier. We know that we put them in the wrong direction, and hopefully we'll be able to fix that. But the shorter drive to Pinecrest if you live in Palmetto Bay. But for those that are traveling long distance to find pickleball courts, I think having them close to home is super important. I consider this almost like an interim step.
That we're so happy to hear, Mayor, that this is an interim step, that lining these courts at Palmetto Bay Park is an interim step. And so we really appreciate the support, and really, truly, everyone listening to the Palmetto Bay residents not having to be in their cars and take them out of traffic to stay in their community. So we really thank you for that.
Well, first, let me just say I'm super appreciative to be here. This is like the pickleball powerhouse ladies right
Yes.
here. So pretty exciting, and I'm super appreciative that not only the both of you, Lori and Lily, but you were able to draw out many members of the Village of Palmetto Bay community to connect with the council and kind of hear what's going on. Super exciting. I think that I know the folks have just heard the clip, but there was a lot of discussion, which goes to show how big a deal pickleball is in our community, because there was a lot of council discussion. And I think we had over 15 residents or individuals that play pickleball in our community and around our community come out to speak that evening very passionately about
Yes.
pickleball. So, appreciative of all of that and super excited. I think I know pickleball is a trend moving forward, becoming very popular, but I'm glad that the Village of Palmetto Bay is at the front end of the pickleball mania, so to speak.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm so excited that when we initially went and looked at the basketball court and realized that those need to be striped, and then came to the meeting and realized that now we're going to put on some pickleball courts. So it will be a lot like Sunnyland. And it's going to bring so many people to the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I think that the big concern and rightfully so, by basketball players in the community was you're taking away court space from us. And I can certainly understand that feeling. However, that was never the thought in terms of our community. It's just an interim step, like you said, to try to get some scheduling for pickleball in the morning where they're not being utilized. And I think that's going to be really the critical point here, that it's going to be an interim step, get some pickleball in the morning when they're not being used, and then we can kind of do some other things, I think, in Palmetto Bay.
Sure. So recently we hosted we're in the midst of doing our Parks Master Plan, which is for all of our parks, not just Palmetto Bay Park or Coral Reef Park. So we hosted 2 meetings, community meetings, one of them was fairly well attended. We have over 60 people, and I think, if I recall correctly, there were many pickleball players that came to that particular meeting. I don't remember when it was, but I remember seeing a lot of green shirts at that time. And so just to give you, some numbers as you're talking about this interim step, the community, 46%. We've also done a community survey just focused on our parks and other services that we provide. So the community, 46% of those that responded want to see improvements and maintenance, of course, of our parks or recreational activities and fields. And I know at the Parks Master Plan, many individuals for all of the parks are looking for additional courts. And so to your point, Lily, I think what we did just a little over a week ago, I think it was a week ago this past Monday, was just to add an interim service to Palmetto Bay Park. I know the park staff is looking to work closely with you to make sure that we get it right because, as I said at the council meeting, while we have the courts over at Coral Reef Park, the size, it was a little bit difficult for us to fit them in the area that we have them. It's where the racquetball or those,
Correct, yes.
the walls are where folks bounce the ball periodically. I went by on Saturday for baseball and saw, just a tremendous amount of folks out waiting to have the opportunity to play pickleball there. So hopefully we'll see pickleball in all of our parks where it's appropriate, Palmetto Bay Park, Coral Reef Park. And the interim component, I think, will be, I hope, is to draw individuals out to Palmetto Bay Park so that they can have that opportunity. I know in speaking with many people, even residents that live in the village, sometimes they ask, where is Palmetto Bay Park? So having folks be able to come down, play during whatever hours are scheduled for pickleball, I think will be an important next step. And then as we map out our parks master plan, I think that's going to be the exciting next step, which is hopefully having designated courts in our parks.
Well, that's exciting.
It's really exciting.
That's really exciting. That's what we really, the community needs. And quite honestly, I haven't had a chance to really expand and talk to you about this, but 15,000 residents today would pick up a paddle in Miami-Dade County if we had courts available. So we've got, the demand is just, we saw it this past weekend at the Miami-Dade College Kendall campus tournament that we had to raise funds for Chapman. And the demand is just, we're bliss, just we can't meet the demand. So it's so exciting to hear that you've got some steps that you're doing with an ultimate dedicated courts in mind for the master plan. So very exciting.
That's really exciting. How many courts do you think there'll be for the master plan?
That remains to be seen.
Okay.
We'll have to take a look. And Parks Master Plan is for 10 years.
Right.
Again, so I go back to this, we call it this
Right.
interim step,
Mm-hmm.
because while we may make a decision before the end of the year on approving whatever new components for our parks in our Parks Master Plan, building out of courts or adding additional services may take several years. So we want to be a little bit proactive, if you will, in providing space for people to be able to use parks and kind of maximize park space. I think I had mentioned to Lily in driving from my home, which is in North Palmetto Bay, to Palmetto Bay Park, I have to pass a very popular park in our community, one I'm sure you both have been to at some point, which is Coral Reef Park. And it took me many minutes, I want to say a full 7, 8 to 10 minutes to get from one end of the park to the other because there were so many activities going on. And then I
Yeah.
got over to Palmetto Bay Park, and of course it is largely a softball park, which we
Right.
love. It's girls softball. Love that. It's utilized on weekends by a contracted service, I-9, which has all kinds of
Right.
activity going on there. But I got to Palmetto Bay Park, not a lot of activity there.
Yes.
And so
yeah.
that's really going to be the heart of our downtown area. And I think we'll probably see some new pickleball players coming from the surrounding multifamily
Exactly.
apartments and residential areas as folks realize, hey, there's something else to do here in Palmetto Bay Park.
Yeah.
And that's so wonderful to hear because as we know, the fastest growing segment of the population taking up the sport are those 38 and under.
Right.
So those family, it's no longer retirement age type of sport. It truly is the young. It's families. It's they can get out there with their kids, and so that's very exciting that you're all providing that at Palmetto Bay.
And what's great is Coral Reef Park, which is a wonderful park.
It is.
My children grew up playing there and doing
That's
so
right. You
many
were a resident of Palmetto Bay, I remember you
for
saying.
almost 30 years, yeah. So I never really did anything at Palmetto Bay Park. Never really went there except my son played basketball there, that kind of thing. But what's nice is that it is close by. And now the residents will have somewhere else to go play pickleball, because the new, people talk and they're like, there's only 2 courts at Coral Reef, and so you're getting a lot of interest.
Well, interestingly, also the demographics that we have with respect to when we put in for the feasibility study response that we did for the county, Miami-Dade County, it shows that 12% of the players live in District 8. District 7 has about 50% of the players. So and people travel, and I think that was one of the important things you said, is that people are traveling long distances to get to courts, and that was like music to my ears, because that's the part, get us out of our cars, get us out of the traffic, which is we're creating more traffic, keep us in our neighborhoods.
Yes.
So I think that's really the key thing that I heard, that I think people are Palmetto Bay residents are very happy to hear that we're no longer, that US 1 traffic getting to Palmetto Bay from downtown Miami on that evening took me an hour and a half. And that was a long time. And that's the drive that people have. And so to get home and have to go somewhere else, I think it really is a great thing that you're keeping people in their neighborhoods. And that's going to help traffic and those traffic flows a great deal.
And that's what's interesting about this sport. I mean, who drives an hour and a half to go to for pickleball? I mean, usually you have baseball, you have your sports in your neighborhoods. So it's just so wonderful that we're really doing this, and that you're so.
Well, I think the next interesting and exciting step, even outside of Palmetto Bay, is this concept of the feasibility study that our commissioner Danielle Cohen-Higgins has moved forward and was able to get passed at the county commission. Not an easy task, right? These are, it's a large body, so you got to really push hard to make something happen at the county commission. So it's great that she was able to do that. We talk in Palmetto Bay, as I'm sure many communities do, but one of the, I'll call it a hashtag, or one of the mottos is live, work, learn, play, right? We have 15 schools or more in the village of Palmetto Bay. Obviously, we have our 25,000 residents. Jobs are not plentiful in South Dade, and so that's been a large focus of the county and the individual cities working together through the chamber and some of the other business associations to move jobs south, so you've got almost a reverse commute, if you will, so you don't have everybody traveling north in the morning. I think the same thing kind of applies here as you're talking about recreational activities. And it's one of the reasons why individuals move into Palmetto Bay. Great schools, great parks, great recreational activities. So if we start shifting some of that activity, and good to know, I didn't realize that 18%, 12%, numbers get bigger. By tomorrow it'll be 25%. But I didn't realize that 12% of the pickleball players or population or demographics are in District 8, which is pretty good. It's a big number,
That's
right?
a big number. It's 12% in District 8, 12% in District 10, almost 50% in District 7, and District 6, which is just north, is about 7 to 8%.
Did you say 50% in District 7?
50%.
Well, that's a big number.
That is
That's
a huge number.
Huge.
And that's why I think, what we saw at Miami-Dade College this past weekend was very surprising. Because again, here we have a university, a college that is right off a highway and can help with any of the players in the southern part also. So we know that anything that's done at the county level, commission level, I think it's wonderful that Commissioner Cohen-Higgins got this feasibility study. But we know it's going to take years, just like master plans. So so that's what the concern that we have, is that we sort of need to look at other areas to sort of bring community together, but also bring tournaments, which we're talking about 1,000 players, some. And so we can actually do that somewhere closer to where everyone's living. So 50% is a huge number.
It is. The good news is District 7 is right next to District 8.
That's what I thought. That's what
It's close in proximity, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was shocked this past weekend. I got videos from Miami Beach. They had 60 players waiting for 6 courts that only, I think, holds 24 players at a given time.
Right.
The demand is huge. And so I know a lot of the Commissioner Eileen Higgins, her constituents went out to talk to her at her town hall meeting also and say, we need help out east. This is not cutting it. We don't have enough. City of Miami, we don't have enough courts. And so it's just exploded. And we knew this was coming because this is something that's been here for a while. But we're so happy and thrilled that Mayor Cunningham, you're really taking, this and truly the council members saw what the Palmetto Bay residents want. So we're really appreciative of your work.
It was really exciting to come to the meeting and see everyone, wow, this is what it's about. Okay, like even I felt like there was like a shift in their feeling, and kudos to you and really joining our pickleball community in wanting to be a part of this and make this happen.
Well, I think one of the things that you all pointed out, which is so salient to me, is, and some of the speakers that came out to our meeting spoke specifically about community. And I had the opportunity to go over with Andrea Spivak, who's a resident in Palmetto Bay, her and her husband, John, went over to see the players at Sunnyland, and they spoke there, and then subsequently at our meeting, different individuals spoke about how pickleball has changed their lives. And it wasn't as much about the health aspects, which obviously moving, getting out, doing things is important, right?
Right.
Especially post-COVID, right, where we kind of became a little bit more maybe isolated. But several of them spoke about connecting with people, changes in life circumstances, whether they retired or lost a spouse, and how pickleball kind of got them motivated to be around folks again, and how their little pickleball community, I shouldn't call it little pickleball because there were a lot of folks out playing on a Sunday morning at Sunnyland, kind of would draw them out if they didn't show up for whatever reason, feeling, like, hey, I really don't feel like connecting. They would get calls from their pickleball community saying, hey, we missed you. Where were you?
You don't want to let people down.
Right.
It's really like that. I mean, I was telling Lily I have like 4 people. Can you come play with me today? Can you come play here? I'm like, well, I kind of working, and you get a lot of the retired community, and but the point is, it makes you feel so good. I can't explain it. It's like you're part of this community that needs you.
And it's it's wonderful you say that, because this weekend we saw it with Chapman Partnerships. Yeah. And we saw that we are a community that started Salvation Army and Sunset Corps 4 years ago, 3 courts on a basketball court. And now we span the entire county. We had players from Hialeah that we connect through WhatsApp chat. We are connected. Thousands of players are connected through all these WhatsApp chats. I think I'm on 25 of them, which is crazy. But we've got Miami Beach, we've got Miami Shores, we have Hollover, Palmetto Bay, Pinecrest, you name it, City of Miami, Key Biscayne. We are all connected, and it's the fabric of community that brings us all together. And that's who brought us together to raise funds for Chapman Partnerships, where those funds are going to line their basketball courts with pickleball lines so that they can inject themselves into community when they do come off those shelters. So I think that's critical. But what's really exciting is that you're all doing a picnic that's going to involve community.
Talk about that.
Super excited about
on
that.
March 4th. We've got a few minutes left.
So the picnic in the village of Palmetto Bay has been a staple. I think this is our 21st picnic. It might be our 20th. Started the 1 year after the incorporation of Palmetto Bay, and we get a lot of folks, somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000, that come out to the pickleball. Oh my gosh! Grant Miller just made a small appearance that none of you can see. So distracting.
You just feel it. Right.
I need a pickleball. You need a pickleball paddle, Grant. But we get between 3,000 and 5,000 that come out to the celebration, the picnic celebration. And this year, super excited because we are going to have, in partnership with all of you, the Miami Pickleball and the ambassadors and a lot of experts, we're going to have an exhibition and clinic starting at 11:30. Details are going to be rolled out in the very near future. The picnic is on March 4th. It starts at 11 a.m. and I think the whole exhibition is going to take place. I think it's starting at 11:30. So that's going to be super exciting.
And I think someone told me you might be playing in this exhibition.
I'm going to try and dink a ball or two. I'm going to try and learn some of the terminology. Yeah, so the other thing I wanted to mention, we've got a lot of exciting opportunities moving forward, and they're all kind of connected to our Parks Master Plan. One of the things I didn't mention was we are looking at a new facility, indoor facility at Coral Reef Park. Those of us who are old timers, neither of
Yes.
you, just me.
No.
You remember there was a structure, a rec room over
Yes.
at Coral Reef Park that had to be taken down, and the building itself was condemned. It was very old.
Right.
We'll say it's as old as I'm going to be in August. Can figure that one out.
Wait, this is the main one, and then they had the concession stand.
Right. Yeah. Not the concession, but just
okay.
the main building
Right,
that
right.
housed a tennis office
Yes.
and an indoor space. We are looking at a new facility there. We've got half the money set aside. Won't get into all the numbers, but we're going to start looking at a design for that particular building, which I think is extremely exciting. And one of the
Wow.
things we're talking about, just conversation at this point, would be indoor pickleball courts.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
we know it rains and it's extremely hot,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we'll have some variety, and I think that's going to be kind of exciting. In addition to all other ways that there'll be basketball, hopefully there'll be tennis that can be played in the indoor facility. So something to look forward to for sure.
It's exciting.
That will be amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
very
that's huge. If we
exciting.
could have a structure, and you know, that's the one thing a pickleball player's dream. As we're here in the summers where it rains and it's sunny and hot and humid, if we could have a structure covering us, that would be wonderful. So having something indoors is,
Yes.
we're all in.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Can I throw out a couple other
Yes,
events that are coming up
absolutely. Yes,
that don't
please.
have a lot to do with pickleball, but we've got some exciting things happening in the village coming up. And so we have a volleyball tournament, which is scheduled for May 7th. Also another very active playing fields at Coral Reef Park. And then folks can check out our website. We've got some summer camps, and who knows, maybe one day
Pickleball camps.
pickleball camp
That'd
will,
be really
will
wonderful.
occur. For right
Yes.
now, it's a tennis camp that's happening at Coral Reef Park as well.
Okay.
Good
That
stuff.
sounds great. Exciting. Okay. Any last minute things that you want to share?
Wow, there's been so much going on with pickleball in the last couple of weeks. I need to take a vacation from the vacation I just came back from.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. We just had a wonderful tournament to benefit Chapman.
Yes,
Um,
it was wonderful.
We all came together. Community newspapers were so fortunate to have you all on board. Chapman Partnerships, Miami-Dade College, Kendall Campus. We had President Cruz playing in the intermediate division bracket. It was a little hot, but he
I
was a
subbed
trooper.
for him.
You subbed for him. He was a
Yeah,
trooper.
he was a real trooper.
He was a real trooper. We had both Commissioner Regalado from Miami-Dade County District 7, as well as Commissioner Porras from the Doral, joined also in the beginner division. It was a huge success. A lot of our sponsors and our partners, Rockney was there, obviously, UFIT. We had Empire Pickleball. Belinda Detman, who's photographer to all of the pickleball stars across the country, was there. We were fortunate. So she's going to be putting all her photos there so that players can come on and purchase the photos. So we had a successful weekend. A lot of good stuff happening, a lot of work still to be done, but
We're on course.
but thanks to you, we're moving forward. Thank you,
Well,
Mayor
it's a
Cunningham.
big community that's all working together, and I think we're all grateful for that. I would like to have the opportunity to present you both with
Oh,
a challenge
thank
coin. I don't know
you.
if you're familiar with challenge coins, but they were born in World War II. Different branches of the government would have a coin that had their branch of the government, and they were able to show folks, especially at wartime, that they were there for the greater good of that particular community. So this is a Palmetto Bay Challenge coin, and I want to thank both of you. I know you're a big part of the pickleball community, but you're also a big part of the Village of Palmetto Bay community. So I want to thank both of you, and I'll give you both a challenge coin.
Thank you so
And if it's your first,
much.
maybe you'll start collecting them.
Oh my
Thank you.
goodness.
That's-
Maybe
This
there'll
is
be a
my
pickleball
first.
challenge coin.
Oh my
at some
gosh,
point.
this is
Awesome.
absolutely wonderful. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you both
Thank
for
you
everything.
so
Appreciate
much.
it.
And I just want to say again, thank you for being here. We're also having another tournament this Saturday actually at Miami-Dade College to benefit Miami-Dade College scholarship. So a lot we're doing in the community, and thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning.